Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's card is using the Stitched Gourds die set. And I'm actually not using any gourds in this, I'm just going to use the corn. For the first Distress Oxide inks I'm going to use Squeezed Lemonade and Mowed Lawn. I'm not going to do anything fancy here, I am simply going to ink up my pieces with a fairly flat layer of ink. Now here I'm just showing you I've actually cut and colored 5 ears of corn because I will be making 2 cards. To add just a little bit of texture to the corn because it looks way too flat, I am going to take a mustard seed Distress Oxide, water it down a little bit, and then splatter each ear of corn. For my first card, I am going to be using prized ribbon, reverse stitched scallop circles, and the large stitched stackable rectangles. I've actually cut out 2 of those rectangle panels, and the top one I have used the reverse scalloped circle die on so that there's a little window. And inside that window, I'm just going to make sure that it is blue. Now I'm going to mask off the scalloped bit and the very edges of the very top panel just to keep it white. For this one, I am going to do the same splatter technique just with prize ribbon, and I'm going to do this all over the blank areas on this front panel. Now I can remove all of my masks, and then I'm going to allow this to dry while I work on my other card. So for my second card, I have a couple different heart dies from Lawn Fawn and the stitched rectangle stackable. It was the largest one. I always forget what the name of that is. But anyway, I have the lacy hearts and the outside in stitched hearts. And they fit right inside of each other. So this works really well. For the main panel, I'm going to mask off the edges and use salvaged patina to color the whole thing. Now, when I start, instead of blending off the panel into the center, I'm actually starting in the center because that part is going to be covered up, so if it is darker or splotchy, no one's ever going to see it. Once I had finished the main panel, I did ink up the stitched heart with Kitsch Flamingo. Unfortunately, I forgot to record that. And then I'm going to bring out some Henry's ABC die pieces. And I'm actually going to do both sentiments for each card right now. So I have letters to spell out shucks, and then letters to spell out maize. Now for the word maize, I am using the Squeezed Lemonade to ink this up, keeping it real simple. I only have them attached to the washi tape that I've already used, so it's not super sticky, but I was trying to keep them in place a little better. And for the word shucks, I opted for the same green that I used before, which was Mowed Lawn. By now, my first card panel is dry enough to work with, so I'm going to glue the front panel down to the back panel, and then I am going to work on lining up my words, trying my hardest to get them fairly lined up on my grid mat here, and using some fairly low stick washi tape. As you can see, this is one of the pieces that I've already used several times for these cards, but I'm just going to attach them this way so that they can all be lined up roughly the right way. Quick note, it is best to let the glue dry on these letters before you pull off the tape, but I'm always so impatient that I never manage to do that. Next, I am hearing my little ears of corn, and for this card I have 3, and I'm just laying them out in what looks like, a very visually appealing configuration to me. Moving on to my next card, I have adhered my hearts together, and then I adhered them to the background panel, and now I'm just lining up the word maize. And this one I did not use the tape for, and maybe I should have. It's probably not 100% perfect, but then what comes next is also not very perfect. So I have my Henry Jr.'s ABCs, and I am going to make the sentiment amazing. Now, the reason I said this isn't perfect is I did not get these lined up exactly the way I wanted to. But after much fiddling, I gave up. So to stamp them, I am stamping them in Unicorn White Pigment ink from Hero Arts, and then I am going to emboss it with Ranger White embossing powder. Now, I did forget to use my anti-static powder tool. Thankfully, this panel had been dry for a full day before I had gotten back to it. Now, because my embossing wasn't perfect, I am filling in the little gaps with a white gel pen before going in and making the little dash line between A, Maze, and Ing. Next up, I am going to attach my corn. I've already glued the two pieces together just because I knew that was how I wanted them before I actually put them to the panel. I'm keeping this card simple by finishing it off with some tiny white hearts from the Say What gift tags die set. I had contemplated adding a little bit more to this card, but in the end I really wasn't sure what to do. And for both cards, I did leave the sentiments very open, so you could put "you are amazing" or "you are an amazing friend" or "husband" or "wife" or whatever. And then for the shucks card, I had wanted to put "aw shucks, I forgot your birthday" or something along those lines, but I decided it looked better without the extra words on it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon. Bye!